Hello everyone, and I am back, and we are talking about Raw once again, this time around, because I actually got to watch it, um, and wanted to watch it, so it's an accomplishment as far as WWE is concerned on an individual basis. Anyway, wanted to throw out a little quick Raw review here. Overall, just opening comments, I thought it was a okay show. I mean, it was everything. The CM Punk angle has been what's been getting me back to watching Raw, and getting me back to watching WWE programming in the first place, and everything, pretty much everything about it's been great. I've already mentioned in previous videos these slightly different ways I might have handled the angle following Money in the Bank, but that being said, as I said before, I understand they did it, why they did what they did, and why they're doing it the way they're doing it now. Um, so that's understandable to me, and I have really enjoyed the CM Punk stuff, and no exception this week. The CM Punk stuff with Cena and the contract signing and Triple H was great. Um, I said before that I thought there was going to be some other element or some other angle added into the rematch that would maybe make it a little more interesting and a little more hard to predict. Um, that happened. Um, Triple H named himself the special guest referee for the match, so really that could go any different direction. A lot of people think that he's gonna screw Punk, or Cena's gonna turn heel, or maybe he's gonna screw Cena, and who knows. Um, but it definitely adds an interesting element, and I think um, helps refute the idea what most people, not most, what a lot of people have been saying about the SummerSlam match, which is that Cena's gonna win, Angle over, as Punk would say, status quo resumed, and that's that. I think they're not gonna do that, and I really have a lot of confidence in not gonna do that. And it's not confidence because I think WWE is too smart to do that. I mean, they've proven to be time and time again that they're not as smart as we often think they are or should be. But um, just the way the angle's been booked and the things they've been letting Punk say, and this week the things they let Cena say, all suggest to me that they know, that they're aware. I think they're aware of that concern. They're aware of people talking about how Cena's just going to win, it's all going to be over, and I think they're going to do something different. I think they want to surprise people, because surprising people with the Punk angle and with the Punk victory at Money in the Bank is what gets people like me interested. And frankly, Punk was, um, has had a lot of overness again on Raw, and people are chanting his name. I mean, he's getting boos too, and Cena's getting cheers and boos, but it's a hot angle, and I think they're gonna do whatever they can to um, continue it and make it interesting and make it unpredictable. Now, that having been said, the rest of Raw was pretty damn predictable. Um, Cena had a match with Jack Swagger and won. Punk had a match with Del Rio and won. Um, the Punk finish was pretty cool, with him yelling Destiny after kicked him in the head, and then he gave him the GTS. Um, Miz had a match with, or was supposed to have a match with Rey Mysterio. Ended up beating the crap out of Rey on the stage before the match started. Um, and Rey was taken off, and then Miz had a match against Kofi Kingston, which he then won. So, again, predictable. Miz is higher on the card than Kofi, so um, frankly, Kofi, I don't really know. I have a hard time dealing with him on television these days, just because his character could really use a rehaul or something, because they're not using him properly. And it's really unclear what, if anything, they're planning for him. We had a match between Beth Phoenix and Eve Torres that was actually okay for a WWE Divas match. Beth won, and then they had her getting on the mic and talking about the Barbies again. I like what they're doing with this, as I've said before. Kelly blindsided her after the match and knocked her over and kind of got the upper hand, which was cool to see that they're giving Kelly a legitimate role in the angle. I think Beth is going to win SummerSlam, but um, I had some others. One thing that really struck me about this episode of Raw, and I've said before how I think the Raw roster seems thin. Um, this is the last Raw before SummerSlam, which is SummerSlam, which is supposedly one of your big, right? It's one of the big four pay-per-views, Logan Mania, the Rumble, and Survivor Series. So last go home Raw before SummerSlam, and there are two Raw matches on the SummerSlam card. There are only four matches total, but there are two Raw matches, which is the main event with Cena and Punk, and the Divas title match with Beth and Kelly. Now, obviously, Cena and Punk is going to be your focus, and it should be. I mean, and I think WWE understands that people who buy SummerSlam are going to buy it for that match. But, you know, you can do stuff with the undercard, especially when you've got now. And it's one thing that was, Miz, after beating up Ray, got on the mic and basically said, um, who am I facing at SummerSlam? I'm this hot property, a big commodity. He didn't say this, but he's number one on the PWI 500, which is about to come out. Who do I get to fight? Where's my match? And where is his match? Where's his feud? What is Miz doing? I mean, you've got Cena Punk, you've got Kelly and Beth, but aside from that, what feuds do we have going on? We've got R-Truth and Morrison, who actually had an okay match on the card, but even then, Truth beat Morrison tonight. On SmackDown this past Friday, he was on the winning side of the tag match, even though neither guy was involved. And on the previous Raw, he was on the winning side of the tag match with Morrison too. So that's kind of, technically that's three straight victories for Truth. It's hard to see this as a feud because, where's it going? And if it was a feud, where's the SummerSlam? Why wasn't Morrison and Truth match we got tonight? Why wasn't this on SummerSlam? That's my question. So, not only does the Raw roster seem thin, but it seems boring. I mean, everything, you've got this great stuff going on with Cena and Punk. I mean, it's phenomenal. The, you know, um, the sign the contract signing segment to end the show, which was basically them talking. It was Punk and Cena essentially sitting across the table and talking to one another. Punk threw in a rock clip from Facebook, which was pretty funny. Um, and that might be taken as evidence that Rock may get involved at SummerSlam. Who knows? But it was basically them talking at each other, and it was fascinating. You know, and Punk kicked the whole thing off. It was brilliant with Punk kicking the whole thing off by saying, you know, look, why don't we cut to the chase? We only do the signing out in the ring when it's eventually going to devolve into a fight. So, so why don't we at least make this entertaining? I mean, and then the things that they both went on to say. Punk, talked about, well, Cena, um, talked about the fans and what people want from him and how he'll never win over a certain segment of the audience, even if he adds to the five moves of doom. He used the phrase five moves of doom. Even if he refines his wrestling ability, even if he turns heel, he said that he mentioned turning heel, and he used the word heel. And Punk responded by talking about all the firings that had gone on earlier this or last week. mention Vladimir Kozlov, mention Chris Masters, and the fact that Chris Masters was fired after making such an effort to improve and doing so well. All these things, they're just raising the bar on things that you know Punk started all of it with saying things and talking about people that you don't talk about and you don't say on the television program. Backstage shit. And now Cena's getting involved in it. This really tells me that WWE is finally, I hope, it looks like it. It looks like WWE is finally starting to recognize that all their shit is public. That we know about their backstage crap. I mean, I mean, maybe not casual fans, but, WWE fans. There's a guy in the audience tonight on Raw who had a Kevin Steen sign on Raw. Yeah, they are finally starting to recognize that fans are knowledgeable. They're finally starting to respect our intelligence, and as I've said before, that more than anything is what's getting me and other people involved in this product again. Brilliant. The whole segment was brilliant. As every Punk Cena segment since this angle began has been brilliant, and I don't give a shit about Triple H being involved. That's not to say I don't like it. I A lot of people are talking, oh, we don't like Triple H getting involved. Just blah, blah, blah. Who cares? It's fine. If they're gonna do Punk as the anti-authority figure, they need to have Triple H as the authority figure. They're not going to turn Cena heel, so don't even, you know. Frankly, I've given up on that happening ever. They're not going to do it, so don't stop. Triple H being there is fine. Who cares? It's not about him. He's just window dressing and possibly an effective means of increasing the unpredictability of the angle, which has made it what it is the unpredictability. That having been said, what else does Raw have? We've got kind of a lackluster feud between Morrison and Truth, where Truth is doing his crazy thing and keeps beating Morrison. Morrison is coming up more and more like just a fucking pussy. He can't win matches. Can't really do anything. He has really cool moves and he has an awesome entrance. He's athletic, but he doesn't win. So there's that. I mean, what else? Dolph Ziggler and Alex Riley? Is that? I mean, tonight we saw Riley beat Ziggler by DQ because Vicky slapped him, and apparently they're doing a thing where Ziggler and Vicky got mad at each other and they're like splitting up or whatever, which is fine. I'd like to see Ziggler without Vicky. Be nice. Honestly, the second best feud on Raw right now is Beth Phoenix versus Kelly Kelly. That's the only other thing that's fucking interesting. Miz is doing nothing. Kofi Kingston is doing nothing. Alberto Del Rio is doing nothing. Last week, it looked like they might even put Del Rio and Kingston in the program together. They had two matches. They had singles matches 2 weeks in a row that went one to Kingston, one to Del Rio. And last week, when Del Rio was beating up Bourne, Kingston came in to save Bourne and ran Del Rio off. But now Del Rio had a match with Punk, Kingston had a match with Miz, and nothing happened between them. So that's not really going on. So nothing for any of those guys. Evan Bourne, needless to say, has nothing going on. Um, Jack Swagger showed up on Raw to wrestle John Cena, which was actually a decent match. But I mean, um, but Swagger was on Superstars last week. By the way, when I talk about all these matches being decent matches, they're decent for today's televised WWE product. As in, they don't make me want to kill myself. They're nothing compared to ROH matches, and probably nothing compared to TNA matches. Although TNA matches, the storytelling um, kills whatever interest I might have in it. Anyway, um, bottom line is that I really feel, this is the go home match for SummerSlam, and you've got Cena Punk and Beth Kelly, and that's about it. That's bad. That's real bad. I mean, Casino Punk can't go on forever, and I'll keep watching. I mean, we'll see how SummerSlam turns out. WWE got me watching again for a month. They got me to watch 4 episodes of Raw, 1 episode of SmackDown. I'll probably watch Friday's SmackDown as well and review it. Um, but that's it. I mean, it's what do they have to really think about what they're going to do once Punk Cena's over, because frankly they've got very little to fall back on. It seems to me they don't have very much going on. You know, Ziggler is the United States champion. He's not defending it. It just seems to me they're not doing very much with anything except Punk Cena. I'm not going to complain about it right now because I love the Punk Cena thing, but they're going to be in trouble as soon as that comes to a head, and as soon as they have to move on from that angle. Um, so yeah, that was kind of that was pretty much Raw, and it should be noted that um, a brief follow up to my comments of last time, Michael Cole once again threatened but did not succeed in ruining Raw. The nice thing about JR being in the booth is that Cole. One thing I noticed about this week is that Cole takes the lead as the announcer storyline wise. When you're talking about a storyline, Cole takes the lead, and he and King make jokes about JR eating Twix and drinking Slurpees and stuff. That's whatever. That's fine. JR is really funny about that. But then when the matches are happening, JR is the play-by-play man. Cole, this week on Raw, during a lot of the matches, Cole shut up for good periods of time while JR and King called the action. So maybe that's just him recognizing that they're better at it than him, that JR is better at it, like in real life. Maybe it's him not really knowing what to do because he obviously, Michael Cole has lost all the abilities to call a match straight and has to work in other. I mean, at one point during the Beth match between Beth and Eve, Cole starts talking about the fact that Eve loves the X-Men and compares herself to Mystique, and then King's like, "Can we get back on the?" And then he said he was Wolverine, and King's like, "Can we get back on the match?" And then he wouldn't get off of it. He I guess he must realize to a certain extent what he's there for, and it's not to call matches, so it's good they have JR to do that. Anyway, um, overall, once again, as it's been for the past um, several, past 3 Raws that I've watched, mediocre Raw, saved by the Punk Cena angle. And we'll see what happens in SummerSlam. You think you know what's going to happen, you don't. You thought you knew what was going to happen at Money in the Bank, too, didn't you? Okay? You don't know what's going to happen. So, pony up. Give WWE your money if you have it to spend. If you want to watch SummerSlam, you want to see what happens with Angle, give them your fucking money if you've got it to spend. Buy the show and do not assume that you know what's going to happen. Because right now, they're trying to fool you. And that to me says that you can expect the unexpected out of this particular pay-per-view. And I really hope that I'm not talking shit right now. I really hope that I'm right. Because if I'm wrong, then, they will once again lose me. But if I'm right and they're taking this thing seriously, then good for them. And that's the only way that they're going to get my side of the fan base interested again. So, peace. See you next time.